Good evening, and welcome to the Festival of Friendship, sponsored by Revolution of Tenderness. My name is Deanna Witkowski, and I'm happy to be here this evening at Manchester Craftsmen's Guild in Pittsburgh on this stage with these wonderful musicians who are going to be playing some Mary Lou Williams music with me this evening. We have Paul Thompson on the bass and Thomas Wendt on drums. And I know that during this concert, some of you are going to be commenting, asking questions. I just want to make sure that you know that immediately following this 60-minute concert, I will be doing a live Q&A, so please stick around for that. And please also check the website, revolutionoftenderness.net, for the entire schedule of all the festival events that are happening throughout the month of October. We're going to start with a tune from the mid-1940s that Mary Lou wrote, and this is something that she recorded in several different incarnations over the course of her career. So this is called Lonely Moments. Mary Lou Williams's Lonely Moments. This next piece is something else that she wrote right around the same time as Lonely Moments, and it was actually written for an Albanian photographer named John Mealy. Now, John Mealy worked a lot for Life magazine in the 40s, and he took a lot of iconic pictures of jazz musicians, including one of Williams that was displayed for many years at the Museum of Modern Art in New York. He also did a film that's actually pretty cool, because I think if you can go to YouTube and find it, called Jam and the Blues, and it's basically a jam session with a lot of different jazz musicians that he actually put together. So Mary Lou, in honor of John Mealy, wrote this next piece for him, and it's called John Mealy's Jam Session. So about a year after Mary Lou wrote the last piece, she wrote one of the works that became one of her masterworks after her lifetime. And it's something that was inducted into the 2019 Grammy Hall of Fame, the recording that is, and this is her Zodiac suite. So towards the end of 1945, Mary Lou Williams decided she was getting really interested in the music of some classical composers like Hindemith and Prokofiev. She started studying their scores and wanting to write music that was in a vein that wasn't necessarily exactly jazz or exactly classical, but kind of combined elements of each. And she did this in the Zodiac Suite, where each of the 12 movements was dedicated to a different figure. Some of the movements are dedicated to jazz musicians like Billie Holiday, Duke Ellington, and others to politicians. And she kind of tried to equate some qualities of the different astrological signs with the mood of the music that she was writing. So she first did this in a trio setting in 1945, and then was one of the very early jazz composers who actually had orchestral music done at Town Hall on New Year's Eve of 1945-46 with a small chamber orchestra. The piece was later done by a smaller version of the New York Philharmonic in the spring of 1946. So this is really one of her works that's recognized as one of her masterpieces. We're going to play 3 movements of the Zodiac Suite for you now. The first one is Aries, the second is Taurus, and the third is my arrangement of a bit of the movement called Cancer, but I combined it with another one of her movements from her third jazz mass called Music for Peace. And this is something, it's called the Act of Contrition, something that the text is something that's usually said during confession. And originally this piece was written here in Pittsburgh in 1967 as part of Mary Lou's very first large-scale liturgical work that she wrote for a group of girls at Elizabeth Seton High School. They performed the work, the first Mass, the Pittsburgh Mass, in Oakland here at St. Paul's Cathedral. So we're combining some of the Zodiac with some of Mary Lou's first Mass that she then recycled into her other later liturgical works and into her third Mass. So here are portions of Mary Lou's Zodiac Suite. The next piece we're going to play for you is arguably Mary Lou Williams's best known composition, and it's something that she wrote when she was touring as the pianist and the arranger with Andy Kirk and his 12 Clouds of Joy. And this was a band that was originally based out of Kansas City, and got to do, when they started doing some recording contracts for Brunswick and Decca recording labels in Chicago and New York, they started touring more and really becoming a very prominent swing band in the 30s, late 30s and early 40s. And this particular tune, the story is kind of interesting because, so I discovered, some of you will know, that I just finished writing a book on Mary Lou that will be published by Liturgical Press next August in 2021. And one of the things I discovered in my research is that all the recordings of this piece with Andy Kirk list the incorrect vocalist on this tune. So the vocalist was actually the guy who wrote the lyrics for the song. His name was Jack Lawrence. He was in the recording studio at the time, and apparently, I don't know exactly why, but he said that the regular singer with Andy Kirk's band found the melody a little too angular, so he just jumped in and sang it. But this is with Mary Lou's original music. Later on, the tune was kind of prescripted by some other people and became part of another well-known tune called Black Coffee, but the melody is indeed Mary Lou's. So we're going to play this. It's from, I believe, from 1938, called What's Your Story, Morning Glory. And we're going to go straight from that into another one of her pieces with the Andy Kirk Band that she co-wrote with a pianist and a critic for Downbeat who lived in Chicago at the time named Sharon Peace. And that piece is called Ghost of Love. Mary Lou's Ghost of Love and What's Your Story, Morning Glory. So this next piece, we're going to diverge from Mary Lou for a minute to an original piece of mine. This is something that I wrote for Mary Lou Williams back in 2000 when the late Dr. Billy Taylor invited me to bring my group to perform at the Mary Lou Williams Women in Jazz Festival at the Kennedy Center. And really, I credit Dr. Taylor with the person who introduced me to Mary Lou Williams in the first place, because at that time, I didn't know any of Mary Lou's music. And so when I got invited to play this festival, I just felt like, wow, I really better educate myself if I'm playing for this festival namesake, whose music I don't even know. So it was a great time to learn about Mary Lou Williams, because a new biography by Linda Dahl called Morning Glory had just come out, so I read that. And then I started listening to her records. A trumpet player named Dave Douglas had just released a tribute album to her, so I emailed him and said, what record should I get? And I just started listening and really kind of never stopped. But one of the really, for me, personal kind of connections with Mary Lou Williams is that, I alluded to this before, but she wrote a lot of sacred music, and at the time I was introduced to her, I was working full-time as an Episcopal church music director in New York City, and I had already written 2 jazz masses, and then I found out Mary Lou had written 3. So I felt like I kind of had this companion who had gone before me, and I also very much admire her sense of being rooted in the blues, but also her you can kind of hear in a lot of these compositions we've played, you don't know where to expect where the chords and where the harmonies will go. And so those are two things I tried to combine in this piece for her that I originally premiered at the Kennedy Center, and it became the title of one of my recordings. This is Wide Open Window for Mary Lou Williams. That last piece was something that Mary Lou Williams wrote in 1968, right after she had written her second Mass called Mass for the Lenten Season. And just before the last Sunday that she performed that Mass at St. Thomas the Apostle Church in Harlem in Manhattan, John F. Kennedy was assassinated. And she wrote several pieces for him, including this last one you just heard, entitled Dirge Blues. We have two more pieces for you this evening. This next one is an arrangement, and often there's some other musicians who get credited with this particular arrangement, but I'm going with the belief that Mary Lou did it first. She recorded this around 1944, and this is her arrangement of the George Gershwin tune, Lady Be Good. Before we play our last tune of the evening, I'd like to remind you, first of all, to stick around for the Q&A that's going to be happening just after this last piece. And please join me from your homes in thanking Paul Thompson on bass and Thomas Wendt on drums. I'd like to also thank Marty, Ashby, and all of the staff here at Manhattan, I'm still in Manhattan. That's where I was just living for over 20 years. At Manchester Craftsmen's Guild. And also to thank Suzanne Lewis from Revolution of Tenderness for the invitation to have us and to have us feature the music of Mary Lou Williams. If you're interested in learning more about Mary Lou, there will be a link there with my website. I have a whole page, a whole section of my website at deannajazz.com that's dedicated to all things Mary Lou Williams, and also has information about when the book will be coming out next year in August. So this last piece we're going to play is something that Mary Lou played a lot throughout the 1960s and 70s. She originally recorded it on her 1964 mostly liturgical jazz recording, her first one called Black Christ of the Andes, but this is not a religious piece. It's an arrangement of a tune from 1928 by Walter Donaldson, and this is her arrangement of My Blue Heaven. Thank you again for joining us this evening. Paul Thompson is on bass. Thomas Wendt is on drums. I'm Deanna Witkowski on piano. Please stick around for the Q&A. Thank you so much.